Morning student, I'm Rose. Today I'm going to start a new chapter, Standard 7 History, Chapter 1, New Kings and the New Kingdoms in the early medieval period. Okay, so first of all we'll go through the important topics, that is origin of the new kingdoms, the Gujara Pratihara, Pala dynasty, the Rashtrakutas, tripartite struggle, the Rajputs, Shahamanas, and the Turkish invaders like Muhammad of Ghazni, Muhammad of Ghori, then the administration of the kingdoms, revenue collection, uses of revenue, prashastis, and the land grants. These are the important points that we are going to study in this chapter. As in Standard 6, we have learned the chapter like Gupta dynasty and the other dynasties like we can say the Chola kingdoms and the other kingdoms which we have already learned in Standard 6. So in this chapter we are going to study after that what happens after the Gupta dynasty. Okay, so the last after the Gupta dynasty, that is the post Gupta, yes or no? So after that, one of the most important king, that is Harshvardhana, took over these all areas. Okay, and after the death of Harshvardhana, that means he died in AD 647 AD. Okay, after that what happened? His kingdom, the Harshvardhana's kingdom, was being broken down into a very small kingdoms, and in that kingdoms, we can say in that about AD 752 AD 1000. Okay, AD 1000. There were three important kingdoms which came into a force. That were the Gujara Pratihara, Pala dynasty, and the Rashtrakutas. You can see here the map. Some of the three important kingdoms which became so much powerful during the reign of AD 752 1000 AD. Okay, so these are the important kingdoms you can see here in the map. Here is the Gujara Pratihara in the northwest, then Pala dynasty in the northeastern side, and the Rashtrakutas in the southern or in the Deccan Plateau you can see. So these are the most important kingdoms which arose after the Harshvardhana, or we can say in the middle century or early middle century. Okay, so first of all we'll talk about the origin of the new kingdoms, how these all kingdoms came into force, or how the new kingdoms, or we can say new king, became so much powerful in the early medieval period. Okay, so you can see here there was during the Gupta dynasty or before that there were various samantas, or there were so many warriors who was being appointed by the king. For example, if you talk about the administration of the other kingdoms, they were each kingdom were divided into different states, and the states were again divided into different parganas. Okay, so these parganas of the states were being these parganas, or we can say states or the district, this was being governed by the governors which was being appointed by the king. Okay, so these governors, were called as the subordinates or the samantas. Okay, so these governors who were governing, who were under the power of any king. Okay, so this kingdom or the states, or we can say or the district, this was being governed by some of the governors who were being appointed by the king. They were called as the subordinates or the samantas. Okay, usually what they used to do, they used to collect the taxes and also the land revenue from the people, and even during the war or during the conflict or during the wars with other kingdom, they used to give the supportive military army to the people for the fighting against their enemies. Okay, so this is how these people, samantas or subordinates, were giving the help to the king. Okay, so some of the samantas or the subordinates became so much powerful during the 12th century, early 12th century. Okay, so what happens? They declared themselves as a Mahasamantas or the Mahamandeleshwaras. Okay, so these are the words. Okay, so they called themselves as the Mahasamantas or the Mahamandeleshwaras. Okay, so when this is after that what happened, when they declared themselves this word, or we can say Mahasamantas or Mahamandeleshwaras, they brought, or we can say they again, what they did, they wanted to gain independence from that ruler, and they declared themselves, or we can say they declared their territory into a independent state. Okay, so this is what happens in the early medieval period. Okay, so some of the examples if we talk about, that is the Rajputas and Deccan, who were subordinates of the Chalukyas of Karnataka. Okay, so this is the best example. You can see in the map here. This is the Rajputas, and they were the subordinates of the Samantas of the Chalukyas kingdom. So when they became so much powerful, they inherited the Chalukyas. Another is the by using the military skills. They established their own independent states. Okay, so example you can see the Kadambara or Mayurashram and the Gujara Pratihara of the Harichandra. Okay, so these states. This state is the example for the, by using the military scale, they inherited their own king, and they made their own independent territory, that is the Gujara Pratihara. Let's study now the greatest ruler of the North India and the Deccan Plateau. First of all, we are going to study about the Gujara Pratihara. They ruled up to from AD 725 to 1080. Okay. So they rose into power in the area of Avanti or the Rajasthan and the Gujarat. Okay, in AD 1725 under the ruler of Nagabhatta first. He defeated the Arab Muslim of Sindh and Pusdabak. That means he didn't allow any other ruler to come over India. Okay. Another is that one of the most famous ruler was Bhoja first. He ruled from AD 836 to 885. Okay, and he expanded his territory, that means his kingdom, from Kashmir to Narmada and from Gujarat to Bengal. So these are the areas, that means you can see in the map, from here you can see Kashmir to the Narmada, and from west you can see from Gujarat to the north of Bengal. Okay, so these are the areas still where the kingdoms were being expanded. Okay. Another is that this Bhoja first, we can say he captured the Kannauj, the capital was the Kannauj, and after that he was very devoted to Lord Vishnu. That is why he adopted the title of Adivaraha. Okay, so this was one type of a culture they used to have that time during the early medieval period, or during that time. That means this Lord Vishnu was the supreme power. Okay, due to that they used to adopt the title as a Adivara. If the king was so much powerful and very much good at ruling, this king used to take his own way or the title, that is called the Adivaraha. Okay, so this Bhoja king was being succeeded by the Mahendrapala first, and he ruled from 885 to 908. Okay, and extended over Magad to the North Bengal. That means Magad is in the middle of the MP. So this is how this dynasty, or we can say the kings of the Gujara Pratihara, ruled over this northwestern area. Okay, and after some time what happened, the last ruler, Rajapala, that means after the Mahendrapala, the last ruler of Gujara Pratihara was a Rajapala, and he was being defeated by the Muhammad of Ghazni. So Muhammad of Ghazni we are going to study we'll study forward. Okay, so this is how the Gujara Pratihara made their own kingdom to rule over their own kingdoms. Okay, and they were great patron of art, craft, and learning, and the literature also. So this is how all the kings of this Gujara Pratihara were great patron of the art, craft, learning, and the literature. So this is how the kings ruled over the northwest area. And one more important thing I just want to say that this Gujara Pratihara, Palas and this Rashtrakutas, they always used to fight, or they always used to fight with each other. So what happened after some time? They slowly declined after the 12th century, and they were being inherited either by the Rajput or the foreign invaders like Turkish invaders like Muhammad of Ghazni and the Muhammad Ghori. Okay, so we can. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.